Hi, everybody. It is April 11, 2024. Hope you're all doing well. Another day. Another day. Same old. Different faces. Different day. And slightly different details, but it's the same old, well, crap. Linty London, Alicia, Analog Synth Player, Andrew Cruz. And Wonder Why. Hi. Sherry Hughes, thank you. Amber Eye, Cecilia Amorati, Oracle 11, Sheepdog Patriot, Rods 907, hello. And that might be it. Very few. Well, I think people are getting tired of this, right? James Brandenburg, hello. Kim Blanchard, hello. Rick Yorkin, hello. So let's take a look at radar. This looks a little bizarre. Oh, loading images, of course, okay. Wow, so we're going northeast right here. We're coming down southeast. We're creating a long, thin line of little bots of precipitation. And we've got the creation of a nanobot supercell tail for South Carolina and North Carolina. And I hope you're all doing okay. I hope you're all safe. Look at this, wow. Radar sure has changed. Quite a lot, to say the least. So, we've got some weather. A man in Texas wouldn't leave his horses, and he had to rescue them. This is our... all right. Know that this is our weather now. Okay? This is just our weather. It's not a hurricane. It's just our weather. And this is what it does.
Yo, hey, come on. Come on, Stovall. Tailboard now. I'll come back for you, Pearl. Come on, Pearl. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Good girl. You can stand right there. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Kirbyville, Texas. And this is Tallahassee.
This is the scene on Capitol Circle.
For those who don't know, Florida.
Northeast near Centerville Road. Overnight storms and storms through the morning brought severe flooding that also shut down the northbound lanes of Centerville Road. There's folks out here still directing traffic to make sure that people are safe on this road and avoid that water. Again, if you see barricades, you need to turn around. Safety is first. This is the scene on...
Wow. This is, where is this? Near Capitol Circle, Tallahassee. Look at this. Look at this. All right. This was from rain. Are you getting how bad things are? This is from rain. It's just from rain. This is what our rain does now.
What you see here are about 7 cars all submerged underwater due to the flood damage from early this morning. I spoke to neighbors here in the Jake Gaither neighborhood. They tell me they've been stranded since 5 o'clock this morning with nowhere to go. They tell me that neighbors in the area have been coming up to their house trying to see what they can do to help them. But for now, they're still awaiting help.
A whole lot of people suffering the consequences. of a whole lot that is going on. I'm going to play this. The former director of the Texas Weather Modification Association, and here he is, mainstream media, and what is he talking about? He is talking about how just with cloud seeding, but we know that there are many methods to create weather, just with cloud seeding, well, they can make it rain longer over a wider area and create what you just saw those horses swimming through. That's not what he says, but listen.
6 areas of Texas where we have been doing cloud seeding. We have had a number of occasions to seed them, even in this extremely hot and exceptionally dry summer.
This summer?
This summer.
You've succeeded in increasing rainfall?
South of San Antonio, we had aircraft flying on a dozen days in the month of July, treating what we deemed to be seedable storms.
And what was the result of that?
The same result that we've seen since it started in 1997. Some clouds respond very well. Some clouds respond only to a limited degree. Maybe one or two instances when clouds didn't respond as we had hoped, probably because we got to them too late.
And when you say they responded very well, what does that mean?
It means that the storm lived longer and produced more rain over a larger area.
And how do we know that it did that? I mean, what if you hadn't seeded? I mean,
good question.
You know.
And I'll put the link in. You can listen to how they know that. So just think about those storms in Texas that have been going on for many, 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 many years. How about Hurricane Harvey? I mean, circulate that, please. For sure, if that is the director of the Weather Modification Association, doesn't that beg questions about what you're living there in Texas? Every state is providing weather modification services to their residents. Doesn't that beg questions? Everyone needs to be asking these same questions. Much must watch. People are getting sick and dying. Have you tested the rainwater? Okay, someone contacted me a while ago asking if I could find and I believe that this is the video that they were talking about. Arizona had a lot of hearings on geoengineering. This is Arizona. Maybe he was talking about the California one, where you had an awful lot of pilots speaking out about the geoengineering, and others, experts in their field, concerned about the toxicity of the soil, what was happening to the trees. So this is in Arizona.
And I understand that this is a federal issue. I understand that from speaking to the governor's office, that they cannot or will not even make a statement about this. My question is, have you tested the rainwater? And if you haven't, have you seen the results of our rainwater tests? And also, are you aware that many of the people sitting in this room right here have very high levels of barium, aluminum, and strontium in their blood? People are getting sick and dying. And we want the ADEQ not just to give us a little speech today, but actually to maybe perhaps speak out against it if you know it's going on. And if not, I would suggest you do a lot more investigation. We've been doing it for years. So I'd like a comment on, one, the rainwater, what's in it, and two, what's in our blood. And if it's not coming from geoengineering, is it your responsibility to investigate that and tell us where it is coming from? Thank you.
He was asking a question to one of the health directors of a department in Arizona. That was many, many years ago. Isn't it a shame that we've not been able to get it anywhere? So, yes, people are getting sick and dying. Just from the geoengineering itself. So, deadly Mississippi storms. I've been looking into Tallahassee, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and for some reason I haven't been finding any information. Seems the focus is on Louisiana, the tornadoes that I showed last night, the damage from that, but Texas and Louisiana. But Mississippi got hit as well.
Stretching not just across Mississippi, but into Texas and Florida. Left thousands of Mississippians in the dark, too. We had team coverage on the destruction left behind from the storm. And tonight, we start with Chief Meteorologist David Hartman on where the weather is moving now.
Boy, big totals in the wake of the storms across the metro area.
Not much coverage for Mississippi. Largest U.S. oil refinery suffers partial shutdown after sudden power loss due to severe weather. Motiva's Port Arthur manufacturing complex in Port Arthur, Texas. So the output was not as large as it could have been. Peak coal, how to put it? No. Have you ever wondered why climate warrior Greta Thunberg rarely, if ever, protests China for being the world's biggest polluter? We don't hear anything from Greta. We don't hear anything from anyone. Why? China is just allowed to continue producing coal. In fact, in a huge way, their increase of coal plants continuing to this day. Nobody mentions that. China's on board with Agenda 2030. Why is that? Why is that? Good news. Greta, the paid, yes, World Economic Forum actor, just arrested with her climate communist comrades in The Hague. You know, it's not good news because all they do is release her. It's all for show. An uneducated mouthpiece. She does not say anything about the real polluter, China. So that should beg questions. Everything that's happening today should beg questions. NPR employs 87 Democrats in editorial positions, 0 Republicans in D.C. newsroom. NPR. Funded by listeners like you. Which is not true. They get an awful lot of corporate government funding. But yes, the far left National Public Radio. What I find interesting is if you drive around the country, you will see very few conservative stations, but you always get NPR. Even in the most conservative states. There it is, NPR. Planet Fitness has pretty much been destroyed. Good. Because of their wokeness in protecting the men who go in and use their bathrooms and not protecting the girls 12 years of age. Good. May you fall completely. Hidden behind climate policies, data from non-existent temperature state. Did you hear that? Non-existent temperature stations. I have been posting throughout the years how they get those temperatures, and you would think it would beg questions. Earth's issuing a distress call. That was recently stated by Antonio Guterres of United Nations, the Secretary General. The Global Climate Report. Fossil fuel pollution is sending climate chaos off the charts. Sirens are blaring across all major indicators. Last year, we saw record heat, record sea levels, record ocean surface temperatures. Some records aren't just chart topping, they're chart busting. Scary stuff, isn't it? Biden. The climate is an existential threat. Let's face reality. The climate crisis doesn't care if you're in a red or blue state. It doesn't seem to care because too many people just don't want to engage even in just a little bit of adult conversation about how all of this is a gigantic lie. When recalling past temperatures to make comparisons to the present, and more importantly inform future climate policy, officials such as Guterres and Biden rely in part on temperature readings from the United States Historical Climatology Network. The problem, says experts, is that an increasing number of the climatology network stations don't exist anymore. They are physically gone, but still report data like magic. Lieutenant Colonel John Shuchuk, a certified consulting meteorologist, NOAA fabricates temperature data. That's what he said. NOAA fabricates temperature data. He's not the only one who has said that. Many have said the same thing. Actually, a whole lot throughout the years. Who cares? It's global warming and it's a crisis, and we've got to control every aspect of your life. Get rid of your gas stoves. He calls them ghost stations. So NOAA fabricates temperature data for more than 30% of the stations that no longer exist. Great. Aggressive unemployment is about to explode. I will put the link into this interview, and there you go. Yep. I hope all of you watching don't get laid off, because it is going to explode. It has. I mean, Danielle mentions that we had approximately 250,000 layoffs in March, just March. And people have contacted her saying, that's the explosion? That was the explosion? And she says, what, is it not good enough until you see blood on the streets? That's what a lot of people think. They don't care about the 250,000 who lost their job. You know, it's only what they see, what they experience. And if they don't, that number is nothing to them. Algorithms raising rent? Algorithms? Oh, I'm sorry to say that AI is operating quite well already. Algorithms raising rent. Software that help landlords rapidly change rates for open units based on nearby rates. They were doing that in South Carolina years ago. They based rates on all of the nearby apartments. And imagine calling to check the rent on an apartment you're interested in. The building manager quotes you a monthly rate, but you're still shopping around. Then a few days later you get back in and the rent they're charging has gone up. That is what has been going on in South Carolina. So, Americans now worry about out-of-control power bill inflation. Tens of millions of Americans are having trouble paying their power bills as residential electricity inflation continues to run rampant. The latest data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that 3 out of every 4 major cities in the U.S. had power prices rise for residential customers. Food has been a worry, but now electricity is the worry. Electricity has been a worry for a long time. Unless you want to go to candles and firewood, you have no other choice but to bite the bullet and pay. Everything is going up. Why car insurance costs are skyrocketing and leading to higher inflation. Yes. The rise in insurance costs is in addition to historically high prices for new and used vehicles since the coronavirus pandemic, as well as rising costs to repair vehicles. High inflation is costing Americans an extra $1,000 a month. So the typical U.S. household needed to pay $227 more a month in March to purchase the same goods and services it did 1 year ago because of still high inflation. Americans are paying on average $784 more each month compared with the same 2 years ago, and $1,069 compared to 3 years ago. That's a huge increase in 3 years only, and no, wages are not going up, and more people are getting laid off. So this is not good. Montana Supreme Court tries to move the state left. Every time I look at radar, I really have to wonder. Because, and I've shown it, it's not happening right now, but I'll put the link into the site. If you bookmark it and come back several times a day, you will see it. Oh, for sure. The extremely low frequencies that I think are just changing Montanans into crazy people. So March 28th, the Montana Supreme Court struck down 4 state election integrity laws, and the court's decision appears to be part of a wider judicial effort to reverse conservative electoral trends in Montana. The Montana Supreme Court has a record of extreme overreach. I described how the justices have made themselves almost unreviewable by exercising an absolute veto over the state constitutional amendment process, and the Supreme Court may be the most bizarre appeals bench in the United States. Along with extreme activism, it frequently exhibits leftward bias and legal incompetence. Perhaps a touch of corruption, perhaps. It seems that you've let too many Californians in. But there is nowhere to run. There is no state that's like the perfect state. So a lot of people head to Florida, right? Because of what DeSantis is doing. And a lot of what he's doing is I think, quite good. right? He's the first to make squatting illegal. Good. But who the hell can afford Florida? I think that little strip of state is going to be just for the elite. And anyone else, lower class, middle class, upper middle class, say goodbye at some point. But you would think that a state like Montana, even when I was there, the local health department was so left-wing, and that was during the COVID days, that it was shocking to me that everyone in this very small community couldn't get control of this tiny, maybe, I'm guessing 5 people who were making decisions in terms of the health mandates. Really? So something's wrong there, for sure. And the thing that's wrong, and I'm going to say it again, is that in all communities you have an awful lot of people who just don't care. They just don't care. It was very sad to see that. Everyone in Beijing lives in a gated compound. But it's not the kind of gated community that the elite live in.
A green code on the health app is also required for buses and subways. Even access to apartments is now monitored. Everyone in Beijing lives within a gated compound with only one entrance. There are checkpoints everywhere. Wang Yu lives in the Beijing suburbs. Only after a heated argument do the security guards allow her into her own building without a scan. All visitors must also log in. No one knows what will happen tomorrow. Maybe the guard won't let me through, and I won't be able to get in. And this is all illegal. The Chinese government has turned the Corona app into a surveillance tool. Every time it's scanned, names and locations are passed on to the police.
Oh, those 15-minute cities are just going to be glorious, aren't they? Senate Bill 727 redefines homeschool. This is Missouri. Redefines homeschool. There's a catch clause that adds, if you homeschool your children under this catch clause and you have a firearm in the vicinity, it adds an automatic felony. Well, let's listen to this man.
If you know anybody that lives in the state of Missouri, or you currently live in the state of Missouri, are liberty-minded, you need to be contacting your senators right now and burning up their phone lines. Some far left-wing group has spent a lot of money in Jefferson City. Senate Bill 727 would redefine what a homeschool is, turn into a public school, but there has been a small catch clause added into it that if you homeschool your children under this catch clause and you have a firearm in the vicinity, it's an automatic felon. If you know anybody...
I'll post the link. But you know, if everybody called, that's called backlash. Backlash can work. But a whole lot of people will say, I ain't calling my representatives, they never listen, they never do. That's why it just got to this point. Weapons coming into the U.S. 2 men attempted to smuggle firearms and cash into the country. They were arrested at the port of Nogales, Arizona. Woof. Look at that. Well, that looks like it could hurt. They're probably U.S. weapons, and they're just, it's from Fast and Furious, and they're just transporting it back and forth between the countries. Denver to spend nearly $90 million in 2024 on services for migrants. They're cutting the budgets from all city agencies to fund programs. Does that sound right? Budget cuts are significantly less than previously thought, so the residents, their services get cut, and the migrants get the services. First Texas, now Iowa, state and local cops to start arresting illegal migrants in July. Wow. Hey, Sweet Pea. What's so special about July? Why shouldn't they be arrested now? Pronto. In fact, yesterday. Doesn't that seem a little odd? It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Because there are so many now in our country, and they'll arrest. Will ICE come, detain them for deportation? ICE? No. Will they deport them? Well, Governor Abbott in Texas has tried, to issue, a proclamation stating that that's what he would do. The courts have said he can't. It's okay. In July. That too begs questions. And I am so tired of Republicans. Oh, they're afraid that these migrants coming across the border, they're going to be voting Democrat. Isn't this just, illegal immigration, to change things politically? Senator Kennedy. Nobody can see that with the millions, especially the gangs that are forming all over the country, the cartel that has infiltrated every state in our country. What is it, sweetie? All of the violence that is increasing. And you're talking about, you're asking Mayorkas if the reason for this is so the migrants will vote Democrat. I know they're doing nothing. Well, I'm a little concerned. I took off some of those cactus pricks from Babe's back foot. I think I got them all out, but when he's always had a very mournful, now my eyes are going wacky. He's always had a very mournful meow. So I do think that he's okay. So yeah, Republicans, Democrats. And still, there are so many people who leave comments about how the Democrats are ruining everything. Wow. Do you see what the Republicans are doing? A whole lot of nothing. breaking news. Criminal aliens get both Social Security numbers and Social Security benefits.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I wanted to give you guys a little bit of breaking news. For those that don't know, criminal aliens are not only getting Social Security cards, they are also getting Social Security benefits. I have, on this tweet, I put the Social Security application forms for non-citizens. That includes, clearly on the form, people that are paroled into the United States that are claiming refugee status. So let's see, you can register to vote with a Social Security number. Well, they get them. And in Texas, you can also vote with a reasonable impediment declaration form without an ID. So I don't think it's the best idea to use Social Security numbers as the test for if somebody can vote. By the way, behind me here in San Antonio, we have just more federal infrastructure to enable the invasion of our country. Any immigration-related thing that you need here in San Antonio, you can come to this building. You can see people sitting outside. So there you have it, everybody. The infrastructure is everywhere. And not only that, criminal aliens will get Social Security cards and they will get benefits.
Social Security numbers for non-citizens. Where do I need to submit to the Social Security office? Where can I get a Social Security number and card? When should I apply? So, Supplemental Security Income, SSI, for non-citizens. Sitting around doing nothing didn't really work out too well. And while this is in Belgium, the beating of white people. New York gun confiscation hitting record numbers. I will put the link in the chat. And this man, I'm not a gun enthusiast or anything, but I do pass along information when it's very important for people to learn. But Copperjack TV, I subscribe on Never Lose Truth. Okay, I do recommend checking out his channel. For all of you, because it's a very important issue, for sure. But let's listen to a few minutes of what he has to say here.
Things are getting a little bit out of control here. When a governor can stand in front of the TV cameras and talk about how there's a 1,300% increase in firearms confiscation in their state, we need to do something about it, and there needs to be more people talking about it. That recently happened with Governor Kathy Hochul, who had a press conference and said this.
We've strengthened the red flag laws, the extreme risk orders of protection. All those by state police, the number is extraordinary. It's gone up over 1,300%. And today I'm announcing the latest data from 2023 shows that 1,385 red flags. Again, this is to alert people that there are people who could do harm to themselves or others, all in 2023 for a total of 2,500 guns.
So she seems pretty thrilled that back in 2023, there were over 2,500 confiscations in the state of New York. That's a pretty big number, right? Well, it looks like this year is set up to be even bigger. We're talking about just the first couple months of 2024, and the numbers already look like this.
All those guns were seized as a result of this initiative. Already today, we track these numbers. I read them every single week. We've already had 290 red flags, seizing a total of 590 guns just this year.
So in just the first couple months of 2024 alone, we're already at 1/5 of the total year for 2023. That is a massive number. Now keep in mind that everybody from last year, previous years, everybody from this year who had one of these ERPOs filed against them had absolutely no idea what was happening until it was actually over. So basically, you're just sitting around, maybe enjoying a football game, just hanging out, eating some nachos. Next thing you know, you get a knock on the door and, hey, guess what? This court order was filed against you by somebody, and we're here to take your personal, privately owned, protected property.
All those guns were seized as a result of this initiative.
Now, in some instances, we've seen things like warrants be served in the middle of the night where people have absolutely no idea what's going on. They're woken out of bed by people with flashlights and stuff walking through their house, and it doesn't usually turn out very good for anybody. So, obviously, this is a huge problem. Now, these are items that are supposed to be protected by the Second Amendment to the Constitution. That should be a pretty big deal, right? So to go in front of the TV cameras like that and talk about how successful it has been that you've been able to strip people of their constitutional rights without due process, I think that the problem lies probably even deeper than we expected.
And we filed more ERPOs, as we call them, in the first 2 months of 2024. Now, first couple of months, than all of 2019, 2020, and 21 combined. That's what I'm talking about. That's why we're seeing real results. The law.
Who could possibly think that this is protecting New Yorkers? This is taking guns away from law-abiding citizens. Anybody can file somebody taking revenge against you. Oh, this person has told me that they want to shoot people up, and it doesn't, you don't get the guns back. You know, they come, they take them. They could put you in a psychiatric institution. How about the guns from the criminals who are using them? It's pretty amazing how, I don't know, I just, everything that's been going on for a very long time seems quite obvious to me that it's not protecting New Yorkers. It's actually making them less protected because they're taking away what protects them. Just based on anyone. Anyone can file a complaint and then the police show up. Is there any real due process in that process? No. And remember, Trump is, yay, red flag laws. He loves them. In fact, he said, well, we need to take away the guns first, due process second. Oh, really? Big trouble. We are in. So this marks 3 years since she got this. You know, that new product. That absolutely wrecked her life. Censored quite a lot. I'll put the link in. You can read or listen to her struggles, but it's really, there's so many people now having the same life experience that, oh yeah, I know, awful lot. Well, they were idiots, they were stupid. So compassionate. Yeah, it's everything is just flipping hard. But where is it? Oh, this is what. Yeah, I'm not a stray. I was abandoned by humans who said they loved me. How many identify? I want to post the link to this too. The clots. Full Measure Town Hall. Cheryl Atkinson talks to an awful lot of people who are suffering the consequences.
I felt like my body was just shutting down on me, and there wasn't anything I could do about it.
I can pinpoint the day, the time where I was. When I was running, I was doing a workout, and all of a sudden, I cannot feel my legs.
I just felt terrible, dizzy, lethargic. As I understand it, I was making lots of blood clots, but they were so tiny you couldn't detect them.
What is the treatment he gave you, and how do you feel today?
He put me on the triple anticoagulant therapy. Within 2 weeks, I felt like I had risen from the dead.
That's all I can play. Look at this. Look at this. I too have seen multiple videos of ice cream that never melts. So this was apparently out for 22 hours.
What you're looking at here is the aftermath of a drumstick ice cream cone that has been sitting out for 22 hours now. I set this out yesterday at 6 or 7 p.m. and it's now 4:23 p.m. the next day. And this is the outcome. If you watch my previous video, you'll see how after about 2 hours, the ice cream didn't melt at all. So this is the outcome after almost 24 hours.
Pretty disgusting. Very disgusting. So, yeah, intermission for you. Very sweet. I am not a stray. I was abandoned by humans who said they loved me, and then they betrayed me. Gotta stop doing that. Gotta stop doing that, right? Did you know OJ is dead at 76? If it doesn't fit, must acquit. There are some people that I don't really care. In fact, I feel a little bit good that they're gone. He's one of them.
Our food systems are harming the health of people and planet. Food systems contribute to over 30% of greenhouse gas emissions and account for almost 1/3 of the global burden of disease. Transforming food systems is therefore essential by shifting towards healthier, diversified, and more plant-based diets. If food systems delivered healthy diets for all, we could save 8 million lives per year. WHO is committed to supporting countries to develop and implement policies to improve diets and fight climate change. I'm therefore very pleased that over 130 countries have signed the COP28 UAE Declaration on Climate and Health. Together, we can protect and promote the health of both people and planet.
How is it that this guy, who's not a doctor, in fact, he's a psychopathic dictator, is now going to, once that pandemic treaty is signed, rule the world? Of course, we know he's a puppet. Okay. But our food system? Climate change? It's a very frustrating time to be alive, when we all know what has happened to our food system. Look at that ice cream. And we all know about that climate change lie. And there's an awful lot of evidence that our food supply has been taken over, and it's now just toxic, poisonous, genetically modified, with an awful lot of poisons thrown in, and climate change is a lie. Those two subjects, mountains and mountains and mountains of evidence. So what happened to the individual brain in an awful lot of people? They too have been taken over. And I'm not talking about just the willfully ignorant, but even a whole lot in the awake crowd, taken over and controlled. When you see this, you realize that there's no escape. There really is no escape. So, Cabin in the Woods. And I doubt that I can play this trailer. I'll get a copyright strike. But I'll put it in, and you can check it out. And I could foresee. These are not movies that, this is not my taste. But some movies, it doesn't matter about the acting, it doesn't matter. What matters is the pre-programming of people. In this one, they're just going to escape, I guess, the city. They want a cabin in the woods. I've not seen the movie, but just the trailer itself. All of this is coming. A whole lot of it is here already. A whole lot of it is here. You want to talk control over the population? It is going to get so... I don't even have a word for it. Yeah, it ain't gonna be good, okay? So I came across, I was informed that there was a military document out there on zombies, counter zombie dominance. And this, I think there's a number of them, but this one is April 30, 2011. And it's, okay, disclaimer. This fictitious plan was created by Junior military officers undergoing training related to the Department of Defense's Joint Operational Planning and Execution System, the formalized process by which the department conducts all contingency planning and execution in an effort to learn the JOPS process and to do so in a more interesting way. The students were assigned this completely fictitious scenario and directed to use JOPS to develop a written contingency plan. So this is all about the zombie dominance. The zombies are coming. All right, so we also know, right, the CDC probably still has on their website the zombie apocalypse. I read, the CDC had this cartoon on the zombie apocalypse, and I read this cartoon into a video, but I was on a channel that was taken down. People are, I don't have any doubt whatsoever that there will be people that will be looking like zombies, coming after people, doing horrendous things. Now, considering the direction that we've been heading in for a very long time, considering the violence that is in people now, and it's, to say it's out of control, I'd say it's pretty much out of control. That the criminals are just getting away with doing whatever it is that they want to do. And we do know those who are in big control love their entertainment. Watching people, watching the violence, watching people get attacked, watching people suffer. So for those who have said, if they wanted to kill us, they could have done it instantly. Oh, but that wouldn't be much fun. Right? So I'll post the link to this military con plan. It's a con plan, if you want to check it out. It's not that long. How many pages? 16 pages. But when you read this, do not think that they just have this in mind as a fictitious scenario. I mean, we're looking at a psychopathy now of people in positions of power that I find rather frightening. Not that I'm scared they're going to come after me, though we're all targeted anyway. But what's happening in Israel and Gaza and Ukraine and our country and all of the violence of the ordinary people, which they can actually create. They can make people violent. You know, what is this summer going to look like for us? It's not going to be good. I don't think it's going to be good at all. They do get off on suffering. I have a brother who's a sadistic, malignant narcissist. And a mother who's a malignant narcissist. They love the suffering they cause. These are not well people. And the violence in them is extreme. So, and I don't know, did you see this, the Civil War trailer? Kind of like that, oh God, what was the name of it? The Obama produced video. film, movie, which now I can't even remember. But this was embedded in an article, what civil war will look like in the United States. There's not going to be a civil war. There's going to be violent chaos. Nothing is organized, you know. So to call it a civil war, like the Civil War that was back in the 1800s, no. People aren't going to be wearing uniforms, you know, the red uniform versus the blue uniform. No. It's going to be rioting. It's going to be violent chaos. Urban warfare. So I hope you're all ready, but you won't know who is who, which this trailer actually, well, it provides a very good example of that. I'll play it. Let's see.
States have seceded. The United States Army ramps up activity. The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance. The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything on.
Are you guys aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America?
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Citizens of America, the so-called Western forces of Texas and California have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens? We're moving to D.C. today.
We need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death. What if?
Every time I survived the war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
The Western forces will reach the White House on July 4th.
Oh my God.
Get in the car! Get in the car!
Move, move, move!
You're gonna hang back.
I'm not hanging back.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go, 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 go!
God bless America.
I could see things like that happening. Absolutely. But there's not a lot of, certainly not any of the subscribers that I've met won't be able to tackle any of that. And you know, what we are facing is truly it's a gutting of life. You know, I've accepted that I am not going to survive. It worries me about the cats. What am I going to do? Okay. There's an awful lot of people prepping, but eventually, you know, the prepping, you might be able to survive for a couple of weeks. Eventually, the martial law, it'll come to your doorstep. It will. What we are facing is something so unprecedented, so you have to think about every possible scenario that could come to you, right? I think it's out in theaters, actually. I'm not sure. So, I still think the best thing is to be out in your communities, trying to shore up a community, helping those in need. So, yes, I really do. If you have, any rifts in your family, you do the best to resolve those rifts and stay connected with one another. Because surviving what is going to be happening, a whole lot are going to go down real fast. All of the preppers out there, the very, very serious preppers, they'll survive a little bit longer. But in the end, none of us are going to be surviving what is coming. Shocking. This is how an 18-year-old active duty service member was treated for refusing to take that Operation Warp Speed product.
Take your blanket off. Go for the left.
So who's going for the legs?
Are you choosing to be non-compliant?
You get one leg.
Are you choosing to be non-compliant? Get on the floor! Get on the floor! Get on the floor! Let's go! Get on the floor! Get on the floor! Get on the fucking floor! Stop resisting! Where's the handcuff? I need a handcuff right now. Get his arm. I got it. Here, get the handcuff to the legs. I need a handcuff. I'm going for his left arm. Alright.
Stop resisting! Stop resisting! You will get tagged! You will get tagged!
Alright, right there.
Just
wait. I got left cuff on.
Stop resisting or you will get tagged!
Ankles on! Do you hear me? Do not move. Do not move.
You will get tased!
Go! I got it. Put it behind his back. Alright. I got his other arm. My shoulder hurts. His right arm.
Give us your other arm!
I can't! Stay down. Stay down. Stay down. Go for it. Stay down.
Where's black glove in this thing with your hand?
In the left toe, Brick. My pinky, left toe.
Alright, get the shots from. Little lock. Little double lock? Yeah, they do. Get a lock.
Stay down.
Alright, check it. Just try to squeeze it and see better. Cool. The double lock.
Alright. I'm going to see it later.
Alright.
We're going to lift him up.
We're going to lift you up to your knees.
Or do you want him to carry? You want us to carry him?
Carry him like
Carry
that.
just like that.
Okay.
Where's the shoulder?
Where's the shoulder? 1, 2, 3.
Bring him over in front of the couch and get out of the way. Medic! Medic! Stay down. The extraction team can break away so that we can look out and ask questions. He's bleeding from the space. You bring the Lord. Man. You want to roll over?
Okay, so this is that guy, Lance Castle. Let me see if I can get, I can't really see it very well. And he writes, "Hey, I'm him. And yes, my commander tried to conceal his disdain for me for refusing his order to be punctured. He signed a previous document that stated in the wake of his refusal to receive the puncture product, they deemed me an insider threat and potentially radicalized towards an anti-U.S. government group and then labeled me an active shooter, and that I was, whoop, oh wait, I thought I had paused it. Hang on. Okay. Radicalized U.S. government group active shooter, and that I was allegedly targeting members to kill within my squadron. Also, an order was given to the squadron to not talk to me, interact with me, or under any circumstances go near my house. So yeah, I decided to never step foot in my place of duty, due to people feeling the way they did, which was all a lie. And I went to the chaplain office every day. I was finally arrested. Alright, I'll put the link in. There's an awful lot going on with people in this country that we don't know about. And when I see people leaving comments, you know, if that was me, you know, 2 of those people would have been, I don't know what, I'll paraphrase, not walking out of there. Good luck. We like to be real tough, anonymously, at the keyboard. But when you actually face something like that, good luck. You don't have anyone. You're alone against, what was that, like 8 other military guys? Good luck. I do this under duress.
I don't. Okay. Oh, relax your arm a little bit. There we go. I don't.
But people still say no one was forced. Bullshit. Yeah. This is Trump.
Have you spoken to Prime Minister Netanyahu? Obviously, the White House is issuing a stark warning. Do you think that the U.S. is not doing enough to show support for Israel, or are you going to go?
Biden has totally lost control of the Israel situation. He has abandoned Israel. He's totally abandoned Israel. And frankly, you know, he's a low IQ individual. He has no idea where he is and who he's supporting. He doesn't know if he's supporting the Palestinians, but he knows one thing. He is not supporting Israel. He has abandoned Israel. And any Jewish person that votes for a Democrat or votes for Biden should have their head examined.
What a statesman. What dignity. He hasn't abandoned Israel. But all of that is a show, and he plays his role. You know, Trump has proven himself to be such a psychopathic narcissist that it literally amazes me that the awake crowd, that they're still supporting this guy. Biden promises Israel ironclad support against Iran. Walks back call for unilateral ceasefire. So, the war, Israel, Iran, and now they're saying that Iran has not attacked Israel yet. They've walked it back because they're afraid of U.S. involvement. I don't think anybody is afraid of the United States anymore. I think they might have just said, you know, we have to strategize a little bit more. We need more countries to get involved to go after the United States as well. And what is this? Jewish activist says her mother a Holocaust survivor, died ashamed of Israel.
Was a refugee from the Sudetenland in 1938, and she came over to Britain, and she was always ashamed of what was being done to the Palestinians in her name as a Jew. She always hated it, and she never wanted to feel like a victim. And I was brought up, unfortunately she's dead now, but she'd be turning in her grave at what is being done to the Palestinians who have been totally dehumanized. Actually, describing Judaism and Israel in the same breath is the greatest anti-Semitism of them all, because Judaism is much better than that, and there are many Jews in this country who do agree with me. Many who have been badly treated, thrown out of the Labour Party and other places for daring to accuse Israel of being racist and actually genocidal. What we all want, we want equality, human rights, dignity, freedom of movement, and the international law to apply equally to Palestinians. Palestinians have been treated like pawns in a game played by the West. America, the UK helped to create Israel, and the UK betrayed the Palestinians right from the start. And you will find there are many Jews who are appalled at what has been done to the Palestinians. Don't tell me that there is any self-defense in any of that. That is wanton ethnic cleansing, wanton destruction, and I believe genocide at what has been done.
I will post the link. Circulate it. There's an awful lot of Jews who are anti-Zionism, who are anti-genocidal, and very outspoken now, finally outspoken about what is happening, and they do not want their name associated with what is happening. It is not self-defense. It is very clear that the Zionist government, the IDF, are literally engaged in a very evil, sick genocide of a people. And everybody should really be. When you look at what's happening there, think of it happening in your community. Because I also think that it's a pre-programming for the world to see that this kind of violence, that this kind of sick, psychopathic violence is just going to grow and expand. Not going there, not now. We are looking for babies, but there are no babies left. I killed a 12-year-old girl. We can't find a baby. Laughing?
We are looking for babies, but there is no babies left.
What babies? Say that again. Say it again.
No, maybe I killed a girl, she was 12, but I'm looking for a baby. We are looking for babies, but there is no babies left.
So, not only should every Jew, every Israeli denounce and shame that guy, the IDF, shame the IDF. Shame Netanyahu, who claims that the IDF is the most moral army in the world. You want to hear sick gaslighting? Listen to that. But the IDF soldiers have been posting on TikTok videos essentially similar to that. I feel really bad for those IDF soldiers who don't want to be doing what they're doing and trying very hard not to do it because I think that they are so not only bullied, but violently bullied by the other IDF soldiers who are psychopaths. No, not every soldier is a psychopath. A whole lot think that they're doing something good, but then they learn, hey, not doing something good. Want to get out of here. Not this guy. Something is deeply, deeply wrong with him. An 11-year-old war correspondent in Gaza.
من قطاع غزة. من زمان كانت عندي المهنة إني أكون صحفية من قبل الحرب، وأنا كان نفسي أثبت حالي للعالم. كانت قدوتي اللي هي شيرين أبو عقلة الله يرحمها، كان نفسي أثبت حالي للعالم زي ما هي بتثبت حالها.
مش خايفة يحصل لك أي حاجة بسبب هذا العمل اللي بتقومي بيه؟
لا مش خايفة، أنا أصلا لما أطلع بتوكل على الله. كان بابا وماما رافضين هذا مجال الصحافة تماما، لأنه هم عارفين إنه بيستهدف الصحفيين، لكن لما شافوني أنا مصرة وبدي أكون في مجال الصحافة وافقوا، وكنت أطلع يعني وأحكي لهم ماما وبابا أنا هيني طالعة وأطلع يعني أتوكل على الله. لكن أنا مش عارفة إني حستهدف في الطريق أو لما أروح أو حتى وأنا بصور كمان. رسالة إنه توقف الحرب والناس والعالم يعني يقدم الإنسانية لأطفال قطاع غزة. أنا من قطاع غزة.
God. Wow. 11 years old. Oof. Well, I guess she was homeschooled. Oh, wait. No, they didn't have that crap in Palestine. Gaza. Right. I guess she's not American. Oh, that's very clear. Not just from her speaking a different language, but the intelligence of an 11-year-old girl. Hamas leader's son and grandchildren killed in single Israeli airstrike. Not good. 3 of his sons and grandchildren were killed Wednesday. Drone strike targeted a car that his 3 sons were driving in. They were traveling with other family members in the car through a refugee camp northwest of Gaza City. Oh, where's Netanyahu's son? Right, partying it up in Miami. Pentagon chief, no evidence of genocide.
Secretary Austin, thank you for acknowledging in response to Senator Wicker that Hamas committed war crimes on October 7th and has been committing them every day since by using human shields. I want to address what the protesters raised earlier. Is Israel committing genocide in Gaza?
Senator Cotton, we don't have any evidence of genocide being created.
So that's a no. Israel's not committing genocide.
So, the International Criminal Court evidence. Countries have come out and said, oh, lots of evidence. UN rapporteurs, lots of evidence. We all know that they're committing war crimes. We all know that genocide is taking place. But here, USA, USA, USA. If we actually have bombs dropping on us, you gonna bitch and complain? I'll put the link in, you can listen to the rest. The lying psychopaths can't do it. World Central Kitchen founder, Jose Andres, says this is no longer a war against terror.
Way too many cases now of humanitarians dying. Many civilians, women, children, that the only thing they did was trying to get close by to somewhere that they were giving them flour or bread. This is not anymore about the 7 men and women of World Central Kitchen that perish on this unfortunate event. This is happening way for too long. It's been 6 months of targeting anything that seems moves. This doesn't seem a war against terror. This doesn't seem anymore a war about defending Israel. This really, at this point, seems it's a war against humanity itself. Way too many cases now of humanitarians dying. Many civilians, women, children, that the only thing they...
Nancy Pelosi confronted for being Israeli apologist.
Are you going to vote no on the money to Israel?
Profile. We
Are
saw
you
that you
going to
hit
vote no?
$1 million
Are
in
you going to vote no on the money to Israel?
Congratulations on making money on
We're
Russia.
not. We're not.
Russia's sponsored. We're not from China.
We don't have headquarters in China. Our headquarters is right here in the United States. And we don't want you giving any more money to Israel.
Our bridges are crumbling. We have
San Francisco has so many problems. We need the money at home. Congresswoman, we need the money at home.
We need it here. Our bridges are crumbling. We have no health care or education to speak of. Shame on you for taking their money and voting for genocide. Shame on you. Yes, me, right here.
Shame on you.
Giving money to 12 people.
What is
your water in Gaza?
Voting yes, I know you're going to vote no on.
Malignant narcissists don't like being called out publicly, and you could see that there were people saying, restrain yourself, Pelosi. But oh boy, they get very angry. The rage in them is frightening. That's how our leaders listen to the American people. Oh boy. And Gaza asks us a question about what kind of future we want to have.
About what kind of future we want to have. The main reason I've focused so hard on Gaza these last 6 months isn't so much because of how evil and horrific Israel's mass atrocity is in and of itself, but because it's so intimately intertwined with all our world's other problems and with the future of the human species. In a very real way, the destruction of Gaza appears to be a moment in history where humanity is collectively mulling over whether it wants to keep behaving in a crazy, self-destructive way and continue along its trajectory into dystopia and towards self-inflicted extinction, or abandon this madness and push for something better. Whether it wants to keep buying into the lies and propaganda and tacitly consenting to the psychopathic murderousness of the powerful, or let the light of truth shine in. A live-streamed genocide happening right out in the open forces a civilization to start asking questions about itself. If something like this can happen in plain view of everyone, and the people in charge not only do nothing but actively facilitate it, then you have to start wondering if everything about your entire nation is deranged, and if everything you've been told about the world is a lie. If something so nakedly evil, undisguised by anything besides a thin veneer of Zionist gaslighting telling us we're not seeing what we're seeing, can be allowed to stand by those we've entrusted to run things, then it means our entire society is diseased. Our government, our political systems, our media, our education systems, our worldviews, our culture. It's all rotted and corrupted right down to the core. The future we are being shown through the window of Gaza is dark, 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 dark. They're currently using artificial intelligence to create kill lists and to determine when its targets will be at home with their families to ensure maximum civilian deaths. We used to worry about a dark future where humans send machines to go kill people indiscriminately, but it turns out it's actually happening the other way around. We're programming machines to tell us who to kill. The horror in our present dystopia isn't so much autonomous murder bots as ethical decisions about killing being outsourced to AI. We're being asked to accept this and move forward in this direction into the future. We're being asked to walk into the future holding the assumption that it's fine and normal for our governments to knowingly support an unforgivable act of mass slaughter upon the inhabitants of a giant concentration camp. We're being asked to walk into the future holding the assumption that it's fine and normal for the mass media to lie and distort and misinform the public about a matter of such urgent importance, day after day, month after month. We're being asked to walk into the future holding the assumption that it's fine and normal for a blatant genocide to take place right in front of our faces and then move on as though nothing happened. And right now, we're collectively ruminating on the question of whether we're going to decide to do those things, or if we're going to decide to do something else instead. The Gaza genocide is such a massive thing in and of itself. The injustice, the murder, the loss, the unfathomable suffering. But what's happening in Gaza is also about so much more than Gaza. It's a moment in history where humanity is thinking seriously about real revolutionary change, and weighing the options between that and continuing along this tired, old, blood-soaked path we've been traveling on for millennia. Gaza proves that our entire civilization is cancerous, and that everything we've been doing has failed. When you come across information which blows apart your worldview in your personal life, you can either collapse under the weight of cognitive dissonance until you find some way to plug yourself back into the comforting lies, or you can set about the hard work of forming a new way to look at things. That's the sort of moment we're being collectively offered with Gaza. We'll either accept the invitation or continue our slide into darkness. It's a thin
This whole era certainly asks us a lot of questions. And it's not so much about our life as adults, but the younger generation. What are we doing? And I think an awful lot of people really believe that their life is smaller than those who are in control, those who are shaping their world. They're small, insignificant. They have no right to say anything about it. They just let it happen. So, the mystery hit list in the showdown between Israel and Iran, the threat to Israel as real, and officials in Jerusalem taking apparent contingency measures in preparation for a possible attack, adding to the risk of escalation. A report released on Monday by the London-based El-Af suggested that Israeli soldiers are preparing to launch counterstrikes against Iranian nuclear sites if Iran chooses to retaliate. Israel starts, waits for a retaliation, then claims they're the victim, and they go after the most extreme. Oh, God. And I can't believe that this is still going on. Oh, God. I can't believe that Nancy Pelosi is still... That's a reflection of the American people, that these people just continue on. They continue on. They're drunks. They're crazy. They can barely speak. And they're still in positions of power. That says a lot about the American people. On the whole, I don't know you.
So who benefits from it? Donald Trump. Who benefits from Donald Trump? Putin. There's, in my view, a connection there.
I feel so much smarter just listening to a few seconds of Nancy Pelosi, don't you? Don't you feel like she's activated your brain cells? Rand Paul has had enough. The amount of money going to Ukraine in this bill is more than we spend on the entire Marine Corps. I don't care about Rand Paul. I don't care about your opinion of Rand Paul, but hello? More and more Americans are going off the financial cliff. Illegal migrants are getting an awful lot free. And Americans, it reminds me of growing up in my family. The dysfunction is on a level of serious abuse. And the American people act like traumatized children.
The amount of money going to Ukraine in this bill is more than we spend on the entire Marine Corps. Think about it. We're going to send to Ukraine more money than we spend on our own Marine Corps. This is a bill about Ukraine first. This is a bill that makes us weaker. There is no money to give to Ukraine. It's not like we've got a pot of money. There is no surplus. There is no rainy day fund. This money will be printed up or borrowed from China to send to Ukraine. It makes us weaker. Once the border bill failed and they decided that this wasn't really about the border, that this was about Ukraine's border, the American Firsters plowed on, but with a more intellectually honest proposal. Nothing for America, everything for Ukraine. That's what this bill is. Nothing for America, nothing to stop the invasion of nearly 1 million people across our southern border. They offered a border bill that would have said, well, if we have an emergency, the emergency's already happened. Nearly 1 million people came in the last 2 months. That is the emergency. This is a bill that is Ukraine first and America last and ought to be.
So what's happening with Ukraine? It's the new big Israel. Watch how Ukrainians are reacting to everything being written in Hebrew.
Украина не станет либеральной европейской страной, зато станет великим Израилем. Это, ребята, я только что процитировала слова Владимира Зеленского. И вы знаете, я уже начинаю убеждаться в том, что он действительно что-то принимает. Львов, а сейчас будет обращение к вам. Учите иврит. Теперь вы будете ссориться с украинцами не только из-за русского языка, но еще из-за иврита. Вот, хотя бы посмотрите, обратите внимание свое на город Умань. Вы знаете, ребята, у меня такой вопрос. А за что наши пацаны умирают-то, а? За что? За благополучие депутатиков, а? За их кошелечки? Блядь, ребята, что происходит? Вы помните слова Скрябина, его песню «Нас просто кинули», как лохов разводят нас за спинами, а мы с вами слепо верим. Перемога. Да-да, слава Україні, слава депутатам.
Дивися, ти була права, в Умані все на євриті. Всі магазини, коротше, всі маркети, всі підписи на євриті, на українському взагалі нічого не. І ходять тут, подивися, євриченята. Все, глянь, всі названня, вообще, глянь, все підписано на євриті. Ось все написано, диви. Тут ж вообще, тут нема нічого по-нашому, по-українськи. Я просто в шокі, блядь. Вообще, всі об'явлення, всі наклеї, ну все на євриті тупо, вообще. Ось все, коротше, Віка. Все по-єврейськи, все по-єврейськи, все. Вообще, собака теж по-єврейськи балакає.
That I came across right before going live. It's the Zionist. It's the fucking Zionists. Vietnam real estate tycoon sentenced to death over massive fraud. Wow. They're pretty serious, aren't they? Fraud amounting to $12.5 billion. And that fraud had a lot of ripple effects. Oh, those ripple effects. Land was at the helm of an orchestrated and sophisticated criminal enterprise that had serious consequences with no possibility of the money being recovered. Her actions, quote, not only violate the property management rights of individuals and organizations, but also push the Saigon Joint Stock Commercial Bank into a state of special control, eroding people's trust in the leadership of the party and state. We promote them. We promote them. Oh boy, I lost my poem that I wanted to end with, but I'm all out of information. Anybody have an apartment in, I don't know, Anderson, South Carolina, and you can co-sign for me? I'd love it. I'd love it. Yeah. Anybody have an apartment in a place that I can actually create a life? I did have an opportunity to go to Texas. I made a mistake. For reasons that I might disclose at another time. Well, Israel, the United States, is not what people have been indoctrinated to believe. Yeah. A whole lot of countries, the people are indoctrinated to believe certain things that are just not true. But we've been pretty exceptional here. Pretty exceptional. We were morally superior. I still hear leaders say things like that. Are you flipping out of your mind? It is miserable. Feeling trapped. Absolutely. Yeah. You live next door to me? Agnes, you live next door? Do 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 do. I don't know any Agnes that lives next door. Oh, you meant the next country? Where? Mexico? Canada? I do ask you good folk to look into the Jesuits. Look into the Jesuits. That's where, as far as I'm concerned, my research, A Plain Truth, certainly educated me. The real control is the Jesuits. That's why they stay so hidden. And they do put the Jews up front. The Jesuits. So, another day, another dollar? No. I talk like your stepmom with dementia. I had that feeling. Very evil. Exceptionally evil. A plain truth. I wish he was here with me right now. Yeah, all right. So, it's your choice. What do you want to manifest each day? What kind of ripple effect do you want to create in your community? Very important. And again, I'll say it. Gotta help those in need. You gotta help those in need. You know, that's, so many, you know, want a better world, but they don't want to do anything to make it a better world. We can. For the time that we're here, we can. But it's your choice, you know, what you choose to do with your days. And you speak honestly, and you live honestly, and you establish yourself as a trustworthy human being, because without trust, there's no foundation of a healthy relationship. Trust is essential. Trust is essential for a healthy relationship. And I don't even know anybody who trusts anybody. Wow. That's pretty sad. So, do what you can. Pick up extra food for the food pantry. Everybody can do that. Everybody can do that. For the animal shelters. Pooch Palace, please. Do a little bit more research. Yeah, the Jesuits were infiltrated. The Jesuits do the infiltrating. Trust is essential. It's very, very uncomfortable to live in the world without trust. Yeah. What's RL? The people you trust in RL. Jesuits are Jesuits. You call them by another name, but Jesuits are, you know, it's one evil, sick group of people. So stay safe, everyone. Be prepared. Have protection if you can. Go out with people to shop, so you're not shopping alone. Do that. Have the awareness hardwired so that that's who you are now. You're very aware of your surroundings. Not just out and about, but also right to your front door, to your backyard. But if you're 68 and you're going to church and you're walking up steps and you happen to see somebody running toward you, well, try to walk where there's a banister that you can grab hold of. I showed that video of this guy pushing, shoving this woman so fiercely that she went flying. And he stole her bag and phone and car and so, yeah, do be very aware of your surroundings. And also, you know, if you can, you know, situate yourself out and about where there are places that you could run or, you know, things that you could hold on to or whatever. This is the world that has manifested. I'm not some crazy paranoid, you know, just, I see a lot. Every day I watch a lot of what's happening all over. So it is very important. And especially for the children, be very aware of where they are and be ready for anything. Thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night, and good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.